Base Hospital Kalmeno for organizing this event and providing the opportunity for me to have this discussion with you all on their regular clinical sessions. And I welcome you all the participants for coming this early to join me in this discussion. So hope we will start the week with an interesting discussion. And my apologies that I couldn't do this presentation on schedule, which was scheduled 2 to 3 weeks before because of my personal commitments. And my special thanks to the Dr. Ruben and Rahul again for designing a flyer and inviting or trying to attract more participants for this session. So today we are going to talk on this topic, Habi or Hijack, screen use in the age of social media. So obviously the screen use has become an inevitable part of our life. With or without our knowledge, we are spending more and more time with the screens. So there has been increasing concerns recently and confusions among public as well as the health staff that this can potentially lead to some harmful consequences. Obviously the excessive use, which is I am referring to. So why I mentioned Habi or Hijack, it is not only about the excessive screen use, any excessive behavior, excessive behaviors which can lead to potential addiction or potential out of control of potentially leading to out of control of our input into that can be dangerous. So that's why I put this topic. But as we talk and as we continue on the presentation, we'll be more clarifying on that. So I would like to start with a short survey. If you can take out your phones as we are using the screens. This will be easy. So just go to this website mentimeter.com and we will start with a small survey. Okay. This is going to be anonymous. You don't have to mention your names or anything. People might be afraid that psychiatrists tend to give diagnoses, and you know that when some people introduce us to others, they say, he's a psychiatrist, be careful with him, that he's going to diagnose with you something else. But it's usually the other way. One of my teachers told me that when we learn more and more into this field, what becomes of us is that how we see the normality becomes broader and broader. So it's usually you can see when people are it's also sad to see that in social media and things, everyone is blaming every others or every others not fitting into what they think normal is mad, YTM, Lusu. Everybody is using in the Facebook or whatever the social media they are using, even in their day-to-day conversation, even between partners, even between relationships, people use these terms. Whenever they think that something is just out of normal of what they think, they tend to classify it as abnormal and ask them to go to the mental health unit and things like that, which is of concern because the stigma is still a large part or still plays a large part in this part of the world. So we have to be careful when we use these terms, particularly in public settings, blaming each and every others, just not fitting into their expectation, classified being as abnormal. So hope as people try to look into this. So it's just an anonymous survey with just simple things. Altogether in this discussion itself, we are going to discuss some simple and basic stuff. There is no, I try to make it as simple as it is. And hope if you are ready. So this is the number that you have to use to log into, or else you can use the QR code as well button. Have people looked in? Sure? Okay. Is any trouble? Does anyone have any trouble? Or on average, how many hours per day that you spend on your phone? It is less than an hour, 1 to 2 hours, 2 to 4 hours. Not only phone, whatever the screen that you are using, whether it's. But what I refer is other than the work related. Okay, if your work is related to the, for example, screen use, like while you work, if you are using computers for work, then you can do that. But other than that, how many hours per day that you are using? Okay, simple process. It's pretty good, not very bad. To what extent do you agree that excessive screen use can negatively affect the mental or psychological well-being? It's like, in our school days, the teachers come and ask us to stand up and sit before we start the topic or discussion. So like that, now we are using the screens to kind of getting you more involved, getting you into this topic. So everyone, obviously, someone is strongly disagreeing, but most of us, most of the participants, so the number is pretty low. I would like most of you to join, then it will be more clear. Obviously, whatever the survey we are doing, if there is more number of participants, it will be good. Excessive, how many of you think that, to what extent do you think that excessive screen use can excessively or negatively affect the physical well-being? 5, 6, 8 people have joined. Still you can join if you like. Right? Again, people are agreeing that it can lead to. So when are you most likely to engage in unplanned or prolonged screen use? First answer is when you are bored, or when you are stressed, or before sleep, just to spend some time before sleep. Or some people maybe all the time or whenever they are free. Right? So, it's divided. There are people who are using all the time, and there are people who are using whenever there is boredom. So it's mostly, so among these participant group at least, they are using it to pass the time or kind of in that manner. It's good that nobody has answered that they are using it to manage their stress or anxiety. It has become confusing. It's the last one. So despite being aware of the potential harms, how often do you use your phone more than you intend to do? So you have agreed, most of you, that it can lead to harm, kind of thing, both physically and mentally. So still, when you don't want to use the phone, but still you have to use the phone. How often does that happen? Often, sometimes, rarely, never. Right? 6 people have only 6. So it's kind of divided, but still it's concerning because 3 people have answered often and 3 people sometimes. So I go back to my presentation. So obviously we can see that more people are agreeing that can lead to the harmful consequences or negative consequences. Still, we find it difficult to manage. The knowledge of something, knowledge of a behavior that it can be harmful or something like that, is not enough to make a change in our behavior. That's what I wanted to imply. That's why I wanted to discuss this topic as well. So, because if we know that this is not good, we know this can lead to bad things, but still, things come out of our control. So why does that happen? That's what I want to make you clear, and what simple steps we can take to prevent this from getting worse or prevent this from happening at all.